right, we are on episode 7 of Ready to Love Miami, and my eyes should be stuck in the top of my head because fine, whatever. Okay, so we know that Shakira went home last week. Bless her heart. She did not need to be there because let's just all admit that Ready to Love has more toxic energy than love at this point. And that's sad because, sometimes people go into these situations, thinking that they're just going to be themselves and they don't get anything out of it. So it produces all this toxicity. But that's another story. We're going to go ahead and get into what happened this episode. So they start with a women's lounge. And so this is the week where, every season they have to meet some friends and they have to meet some family. So this is the week of this season that the ladies are introducing their top connections, or maybe not even their top connections, but all of the guys that are interested in them to their friends, right? And I mean, like I said before, it feels like this season is being dragged on. And usually, like in the last 2 seasons, we had like these breaks, in between the episodes. And I don't feel like we have one this season yet, but it seems like this season still feels dragged. You know what I mean? I don't know why, but like we still don't have no like lit connections. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're gonna get into some of these friend dates. So we see Randall go to see Jamala at her friend's house. That couch was everything because it was huge, and I like big furniture. But Randall was the only one tall enough for his feet to touch the ground. So I was like, oh, that must be a big couch. But I know he is tall. But like, I like the way that it looked comfortable. But so Randall got on his hoochie daddy shorts. So Kamisha is doing these quick conversations with some of the RTO cast, and they're probably about 10 or 15 minutes, if that. And so she'll have them on and she can rapid fire a bunch of questions. So I did watch the Randall one, and he did, I think he did say on there that he put on the hoochie daddy shorts because Jamala like him in hoochie daddy shorts, so he giving her what she want. Okay, so y'all can stop talking about his hoochie daddy shorts because he ain't trying to impress y'all. He trying to impress Jamala, okay? But yeah, I don't understand why hoochie daddy shorts is a thing though. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sold on him yet, so I don't know. Seemed like they had a really good friend gathering, and it looked like her friends liked him. I found out that he was originally from DC. That kind of makes sense now. I didn't realize that at first, but it kind of makes sense now. And so they had they had 1,000 kisses before he left, and Jamala's feeling really good about it. But Jamala's feeling really good about it. But we know Randall has 2 other connections. I don't think Jamala has any other connections. So then we come to the friend date where Kadian has her friend Ching, and they're going to meet Swayze. Now, I did not like this one at all because they set him up to be attacked, and it was not cute. It was real juvenile to me, but her friend said it's what they normally do. She was like, okay, so tell me what's going on. She said, I want you to say some things that I can't say so he won't be offended. Now, and then she said, oh, like we normally do. So my thing is, if you are actively setting up situations to get a reaction out of somebody, that's not good. That's not good. Why can't you, with your faith and your voice, communicate the things that you want to know straight to him and not use your friend to do it? Because that's messy as I don't know what. That wasn't a good move to me. I think Swayze was right in being upset because that was some sucker shit. He maintained his composure. He did let her know that he was upset, but then he rolled out. And when he rolled out, we're going to find out later that he confided in Sharif. The whole thing was a spectacle. So the main thing that they were talking about, what pissed Swayze off at this friend's date, was that, the topic of him dating and who he's been dating came up. So they asked him he was asked if he was on dating apps, and he said yes. And so then they started to ask him, so have you dated black women in the last 3 years? He said he's been intentionally dating the last 3 years. And they said, have you dated black women in the last 3 years? And he said no. So they took that and turned it into, oh, he don't date black women. And Katie was a little bit passionate about him saying that he said that. He said he didn't say that. He said his daughter's mom is black, his daughter's black. He should not have felt like he needed to defend that. But I really want to focus on this. Listen, it is 2022. It is September 2022. We have been in a pandemic since 2020. So when people say they've been single for the last 3 years, like that should not be a shock to anybody. If he was on apps and he was dating people, okay, maybe the ones he connected with were not black. Maybe his preferences was set up to not meet black people, but like you really can't fault nobody for being single in the last 3 years when most of that was a pandemic. Like, give the man a pass on that. Don't try to jump down his throat over something that you think, some conclusion that you've drawn. You're scared to even communicate with him to talk even further about the situation. Like, you should have had all those answers before you had your friend sit up there and try to question him about it and attack the man, because it was an attack. Anyway, so he rolled out. She was sitting there laughing at the table while it was going on. It was real childish. It was a childish move. Like, no. I feel like she already had her mind made up on what she was going to do, and he was going to come to get grilled. And then her friend even said, I'm going to gut him like a fish. Like, what is happening? Do you want this to be your boyfriend, or do you want to turn the man off? Like, I didn't understand none of that strategy. Okay? It just seemed like it would have been simpler to just sit down and talk to him. But that's just me. So then Trinika, bless her heart, Trinika invited LJ, Randall, and Justice to meet her friends. Now, I really liked Trinika's friends, and they got her back. I really, really liked her friends and what they had to say. They saw right through Justice, you know what I'm saying? And they kind of saw a little bit through Randall, too. I think that they were spot on, and I think that Trinika would make a good connection with LJ. But I just don't understand why Trinika does not see what everybody else sees in Justice. Like, it is so crazy because he's not trying to hide it. I don't understand. I don't understand. Just the stuff that he says. Like, it started to seem like, to me in this episode, he started just saying anything that like sounded good, like phrases and stuff, but he wasn't offering any elaboration behind it. So like, Justice is not ready to love. Justice needs to go home, because Justice is like the type of dude that he is very surface, and I feel like he wants to be more than that, but he does not know how, and it's really not working in his favor on these friend dates, because whenever another guy comes around, it looks like Justice is intimidated. Not that he's scared of them, but he just doesn't want to. He won't be himself, and he won't participate as openly as he would if they weren't there. And that's something that he has to work on. But that's what I saw in all the dates that he went on. Shanika's friends they were spot on. Justice, the Joker. I mean, he didn't have any thoughts for like his plans for the future. Like, at least even if you want to like build your business to a certain point, like, you don't have any thoughts about the money you want to make. You don't have any thoughts about the places that you want to live. Like, travel that you want to do. Like, he didn't have anything to offer when that question was asked, and that's a red flag to me, because it's like you just out here reacting to life and just wherever the wind blows you, or whatever kind of attitude. And if you're on a show to be dating somebody and you're trying to be intentional, that he didn't show any intentionality in that at all. Like he said, I'm simplistic because I'm complicated. Like, what am I supposed to do with that information? It's just like you can't really have I couldn't see them having a real conversation with him. And then when like Justice and LJ got there, he just, back and forth looking at them like, like you could tell he was feigning interest, trying to act like he wasn't uncomfortable when he was super uncomfortable, until he just had to get up and excuse himself. So then you got Sharice and her friend, and she invites Samson over. Now, I do think that Samson and Sharice, they make a cute little couple. Like, I could see them together. Samson's very confident. When he came in, he was definitely making he had hard eye contact with the friend, and he's very intentional in when he's communicating with somebody. So they had a good conversation. They asked him, why is he rushing? And he's like, do you know how old I am? Well, that's the reason. But I feel like Sharice's friend was smiling way too hard in this conversation. Like, I think she liked Samson. But anyway, so Samson got a good review from her friend. So then we got Kayla, Mike, and Randall and her friend. So, this whole date was so uncomfortable for Kayla. I could tell, like, both of the dudes that she was interested in sitting right across the table from her. She don't understand what's going on with her and Mike. She, knows that they both have other connections and things like that. Like, but her friend points out that the whole time Randall was looking at her, but she was staring at Mike because the friend was looking into Randall's eyes. And Kayla, kind of breaks down because she's like, oh gosh. And she's like, she basically notices her own pattern, that she's in her own way. She's considering a dude that she knows is not good for her, and she has to do something different. She is one of the only ones that, is saying that you have to bring something different than what you rather do. Randall's doing the same thing. So, it's going to be interesting to see how all this pans out. But I still feel like Mike is also, he gives me Playboy vibes, but he gives me the kind of Playboy vibes that he just, does it because he's insecure. I don't know him, but just how it's coming off on TV. Mike is funny. Mike sat there and talked about how he can't just get his mind off of how she kissed other men and he doesn't kiss nobody. He made this big old thing about it. So Randall shows up and the friend is asking questions. The friend is talking to Randall and Mike, and then Mike is like, he stops and puts his arms on Randall. It's like, this is the guy whose lips touched hers, and yada yada. And it's like, even Randall was looking like, what is he doing? Like, he, sometimes people are in situations where they just don't know how to react to their whatever they're feeling, and they just do weird stuff. And that whole shoulder grab that Mike gave Randall was kind of probably like nervous energy or whatever. But so Kayla and her friend have a conversation after he leaves, and after the men leave, and that's when she realized she needs to do something different or whatever. Now, Brandy has her date with her friend, and she invites Samson and she invites Mike. So Samson arrives first, and somehow they accidentally kiss. Now, when I say they accidentally kissed, I mean their lips accidentally touched when they went in to hug, but it was a kiss, because it wasn't like my lips are just like this and your lips brush my lips. No, Brandy actually and Samson kissed back. Okay, so what I want to know is, how is Mike gonna act once he find out that Brandy kissed somebody too, and she ain't even kissed you? Which I'm surprised that they didn't kiss, but I'm waiting to see their reaction. Oh, you better come through on this footage. We need the whole clip. We need no edits. We need to see how that went down, okay? But anyway, so the friend was like, when Samson came in, she was feeling Samson for her, but then when Mike came in, she understood. So it seems like Brandy got a type, and her friend knows that it's Mike. But the fact still remains. We need to see if this is gonna change when Mike finds out that her lips accidentally touched Samson. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how harmless it was, his logic for how he's dealing with Kayla, what is he gonna do? So then Looney invites Justice and LJ to meet her friends. Now, I don't know like I said, I don't know why Trinika doesn't see Justice. I don't know why Looney doesn't see Justice. And then, I feel like Looney's friend only said she was Team Justice because she wasn't Team LJ. So if it would have been anybody else there, Justice wouldn't have been picked, I think. But I don't know. I just don't see how, I just don't see it. So then they go to deliberation. And so the women's faces, while other women were mentioning the dudes that they would talk to, was priceless. You got to go back and watch that part, because all of their faces and eyes, all of their eyes were rolling and they were making these faces. But there was a point where somebody was talking about Justice, and I can't remember who it was, but I know Looney, they did a cutaway scene to Looney saying, just because he's not floating your way, don't be hating on him or something like that. And like, it's like, girl, Looney, you don't see what we see about Justice? Like, how? I'm just so confused. because everybody else sees it. So anyway, I digress from that. We'll just have to watch to see how else this plays out. So then Kayla, so they figure out who they're gonna send home, and so the two guys in the bottom is LJ and Justice. So Kayla goes on a date with Justice, and they had never been out before, and I guess they really didn't talk because she was like, I just want to make sure you know what my name is. And so he was actually excited to see her, and he came in with his little, whatever confidence he had and swagger, but that balloon was quickly burst when she let him know that, you're not ready to love. And so, of course, he did not take it, in a way that he took it at the table, but in his cutaway, he's not concerned. You know what I mean? Like I said, Justice was not looking for nothing. He just wanted to be on the show long enough to be a reference for the show. Goodbye, Justice. Okay, so now we can get down to if we really got some connections in here. Okay. I can start paying attention to that now because for the last 3 weeks I just been like, okay, these people gotta go. So now we got, a new playing field, so to speak, and we can really like get down to business. So Looney goes out with LJ and she lets him know that he still is ready to love, but some of the people are feeling friend vibes with him, so he needs to step up his game in that regard. So next week, Tommy tells the men that they need to introduce the women to a truth teller in their life. So I wonder why he changed it from exes, because it used to be they meet the men's ex, right? I know that one of them are going to meet one of the men's ex, but he said a truth teller in your life. Maybe he'll elaborate in the on the next episode, and maybe he actually does say exes, but I noticed this time he said a truth teller in your life. So that should be interesting because it always is. So we'll just have to wait to see what happens. So if you are not watching Kamisha Reviews panel for Ready to Love on Saturdays, make sure you get in the building because you have past cast members on there. New cast members come through in the chat. You never know who might hop on the panel or who might be in the chat. And it's a lot of extra context provided by those people when they do come through. So check her out, Kamisha Reviews. And that's all I got for y'all for this video. I can't wait till next week. It seemed like the season is dragging, but we just going to be here every week reviewing it, and that's how it's going to go. So I'm bydamitajo, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace. Fine, whatever.